Well, hello good peoples of the internet and welcome back to my channel. And for those of you that are new because I'm now doing videos about the Winchesters, well, welcome! And please do stick around because I intend to make more videos as this series releases new episodes. So as soon as I drop an episode and I've had time to make a video, I'm going to post it online. Of course, it might take a little bit more time than some content creators out there because I've still got a full-time job and I'm trying to do this juggling act as best as I can. Anyways, in today's video I wanted to talk about episode 2 of the Winchesters, so without further delay, let's jump right in, shall we? So, episode 2 of The Winchesters is very reminiscent of what happened into episode 2 of Supernatural, which is Wendigo, chiefly because Dad sends the kids on a wild goose chase, which is more of a wild supernatural being chase, to keep them busy and safe-ish whilst he's taking care of something bigger and more dangerous. However, similarities don't end there because there's also the fact that the creature is not killing its prey straight off, so it keeps them alive for some time to feed on them in some weird manner, I guess. And yeah, it gives the kids the opportunity to save the people on the things and do the family business, just like they had to do with Wendigo, because this creature also kept its victims alive. So they head straight to Topeka, and as soon as they arrive in Topeka, Carlos is finding some fake ideas for Mary and John to go undercover. He uses fake rock and roll aliases, so I'm glad to see that those are back. I never really doubted it, but I'm here for that stuff. I always enjoyed that, and I was able to pick out that those fake aliases were from Fleetwood Mac. Even if I'm not the most knowledgeable about Fleetwood Mac, I mostly know only 2 songs from them. So anyways, I was able to pick that up, so maybe some younger viewers that didn't know, it's from Fleetwood Mac. Anyways, they go and speak to the dad of the guy who went missing and gain the info that he was on some hippie commune. So as soon as they go back to the motel and relay that info to Lata and Carlos, Carlos is very pleased to know that he's got to go undercover in some hippie commune, and he starts to sing Age of Aquarius. And I was glad that this song was here because I enjoy the song and it's fitting with the hippie movement and all that. However, Carlos doesn't really sing it well because he's a little bit under the note that he's supposed to achieve when he's singing it. So yeah, that kind of bugged me because I've got good musical ears, mostly because I sing and I play guitar as well. So maybe Carlos shouldn't really try and have a career in music. So maybe the writers of the show should put that in at some point, that he realizes that maybe he hasn't got a career because he's not that good at it and hunting is his thing. Anyways, when they get to the commune, they decide to split the gang up, just like the Scooby-Doo gang, and Mary and John go together, not because they're Fred and Daphne, although John is definitely still Fred in that episode, but that's probably going to change because he's gaining a little bit more confidence in this particular episode, so probably he's going to be better in upcoming episodes. Anyways, they speak to Connor, which is the guy who's in charge of this hippie commune. Mary thinks that they should keep an eye out for that guy because he's wearing that necklace which has a Celtic symbol on it, which is a Triskele, or a Triskel, or a Triskelion. Anyways, I don't really know why she thinks that she should keep an eye out for that guy, other than she doesn't really know her stuff, so glad that Lata is there to kind of enlighten them, because a Triskele, or a Triskel, or a Triskelion, is supposed to represent moving forward and balance, so it's nothing evil, and it's just more of what Connor is saying, that you should move forward, not stay attached to the past and give any importance to what parental figures told you and do your own thing. Anyways, Mary wanted to keep an eye out on this guy, Connor that is, but eventually he gets taken by the creature as well, so obviously he's not the culprit if he's a victim. So they then try and find what happened to him. They kind of find what happened to him. Mary thinks that it's a mimic, another kind of shapeshifter that we've never seen, but Lata's not convinced, and she's right. She's talking with Ada over the phone at some point, and she discovers that those flowers that she saw weren't anything related to a mimic, and it's actually something else that I can't really understand what the name of it is, so I'm just gonna call her weird witchy woman with purple flowers. That's what I'm going with. However, as of now, no one knows that it's not a mimic, so John goes back into town to the motel to steal some copper pipes in order to make a weapon against a mimic. But whilst he's there, he's met with his mum, who is not his mom. It's the mimic not mimic, aka the weird witchy lady with purple flowers. But he doesn't know that at first. They talk together for a while until, aha, he gets a tell of, I never told you that, so how could you know that? Unless you're the creature, just like Mary told me to keep an eye out, or an ear out, for anything that you'd say that wouldn't make sense. So he gets wise to it, but he gets captured just as Mary, Lata and Carlos arrive on the scene, and then they have to save John. So in order to save John, Lata discovers that they need to destroy this creature by stabbing it with something that's got as much power as she has. And they decide to use her leg to stab her with it, because it's made of some kind of wood that's got her power and it's kind of attached to her. So yeah, they decide that this has got as much power as her, surely, because it's a part of her. Makes sense. So then the gang goes back to the woods and they're able to find where John is, because John has been able to free Connor from that weird witchy lady with purple flowers. And as they arrive at the scene, Mary and John work together to break the leg of the thing and stab her in the chest and destroy her. There, job's done, people are saved, and the episode ends with the kid going back to his dad, and he's probably gonna have some PTSD because in his mind he's been tortured by his dad, but now his dad welcomes him back home with open arms and they hug, and I'm like, this dude's gonna have some real issues with his father. But whatever, at least he's alive. And then the kid goes back to the clubhouse and eat a pizza, and Ada reveals to them that there's more to this clubhouse, and I've probably found some info about the box that's not working anymore right now, so we should probably pursue that. And why does she know all that much about the Men of Letters? And why is she that knowledgeable about this clubhouse? We're gonna learn that a little bit further down the road, but we've learned a little bit in that particular episode, which is that she was working with Henry, aka John's dad, so that's why she knows about those sort of things. And finally, the episode truly ends with a kind of Lady Voldemort-esque witch that captures the essence, I guess, or maybe the spirit. I don't really think that it's a soul. But yeah, she captures the essence of that weird, witchy, purple-flowered lady, and then head back into the forest, and she's followed by, I'm not sure what kind of creature. At first I thought it was a manticore, maybe, because it seems to have a weird head and a scorpion body, so it could be a manticore. But then again, I made a little bit of research just to know that the acrida means a locust. So maybe it's a huge locust, or maybe it's some kind of a manticore, because acrida means locust in Greek. So I don't really know. That's a bit of my theory here. Maybe it's a bit of a locust, maybe it's a bit of a manticore, maybe it's... I think it's got something to do with ancient Greece, because they want to steer clear of what we know already, which is more Christian mythology that's been explored in Supernatural. So I don't really know where they're going to go with that. I guess I'll just have to wait and see, just like everyone else. And yeah, I guess there's this theory floating around that the Lady Voldemort, I'll put a picture here for the Lady Voldemort. You can see what what vibe she gives. It really makes you think of a Voldemort in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, when in the woods with that particular garment and all that. So anyways, that's how the episode ends, and that's kind of the theory that I've got. Alright, so closing thoughts on this episode, no particular order, just as it comes in my mind. Carlos. I liked Carlos a lot more than I did in the previous episode, because he's smarter and wiser than I gave him credit for. He's the only one that's able to see that Samuel's given them this job to get them the hell out of the way. And also because he's wise enough to tell to Mary, okay, if you want to lead this group, fine, you can lead it, but lead it the way you see fit. Don't lead it as your old man did. You're your own woman. You can do your decisions. You can have the type of leadership that you want to have. And fair warning, if you want to lead just like your dad did, well, I can get out of this band because I'm like a Neil Young and I don't intend to stay in Crosby, Styles, Nash and Young forever. If you want to not listen to anyone else, I can be my own one-man band. I can be a Neil Young and get out of here. Oh, and by the way, producers, if you want to play a little bit of Neil Young, I'd be down with that, especially since the album Harvest came out in 1972, which is the year that this is taking place in, and Harvest is one of my favorite Neil Young albums, so just putting it out there. On to Lata. Really enjoy the fact that Lata is not as afraid as she was in the first one to go with the crew. She didn't really know when they were in the Men of Leather factory thingy at the beginning that there was going to be zombies attacking them and all that, but she's willing to go along with the gang. Or maybe it's her curiosity that's got the best of her, and at some point it's going to come back and bite her in the ass. Guess we'll just have to wait and see. Moving on to Mary. I still enjoy Mary. She's still a badass, kicking ass and taking names, and she doesn't listen to anyone but John. So we can see that John's getting under her skin a bit. He's the only one that can do that, because when they're in the Men of Leather factory, just like I mentioned before, John's the only one for whom she's willing to stop. He's saying, Mary, stop. She stops briefly, make a 180, talks a little bit to them, and it's about 10 seconds and just moves again, but she wouldn't even listen to anyone else. So John's got the advantage to anyone else here. So we can see that their feelings are getting a little bit deeper. They've got a little bit more of a connection. We can see that in some scenes, like when they've got some chatting going on, driving along the road. So yeah, we can see that there's some emotions evolving here, and of course that's kind of the reason why this show has been made, is to show us how this relationship develops. So yeah, glad to see that. John, I still like John, even if he's still a bit bland. I like the relationship that he's developing with his mother as well, more understanding and all that. Don't recall if the thing with the saying I love you after every argument with her mom and her dad, and now conveying that to the kind of relationship that they've got, never stay angry at one another and just tell them I love you each time you leave. I don't recall if John was doing that with Mary. I'll have to rewatch some Supernatural, I guess. But anyways, I quite enjoyed that as well, and I think that now that he's got a little bit more confidence in his abilities, and he's got a little bit more confidence that his mom believes in him as well, and she's not afraid that he's going to die. She's just afraid that maybe something's going to happen to him just like it happened to his father, but it's not because he's not up to the task. It's just because, you know, it's a scary world out there, and I'd prefer that you did not put yourself in risk, but if you want to do it, then I guess I'll have to just deal with it. But of course, I'm your mom and I'm gonna be worried. The ending sequence, I enjoyed that as well. The mystery about who's the lady in the cloak. Obviously, it's a lady. We can see that by her hands, not because she's wearing lots of rings, but just the shape of the hands and all that. Is it Rowena, as some people have hinted at? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not completely convinced, but now that I've seen the scene a couple of times and a couple of details could point to it, I'm not really willing to pronounce myself here. Just the fact that she's got her face hidden is enough reason for some people to be like, of course it's Rowena. It's a lady, she does some kind of weird magic. The color of the magic seems to fit with Rowena as we've seen before, so it's probably her. Otherwise, why would they cover her face? Well, it could be as simple as that, or maybe it could be that eventually we're going to meet that particular character and we're not going to know that the gang is in trouble because we don't know who that cloaked lady was more than they did. So maybe that's the reason why this person is cloaked, or maybe it's because it's Rowena and they don't want to ruin the surprise for fans. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Alright, so that's pretty much what I had for this video. A little bit of theory here. It's not really what I do in supernatural world, and usually I just watch the episodes, and to me it's kind of a detective story. I'm trying to guess the creature before it's announced what creature it is. Most of the time I'm right, but sometimes I'm wrong. But anyways, in this particular universe, we don't really know all that much, so I guess I'll just have to wait and learn a little bit more about what they want to show us in this particular series, and then I'll be able to play my usual game, which of course will be kind of useless having a channel about this, because when the episode comes out and you've watched it, we all know what the creature is by the end anyways. So yeah. Like I said, it's all I got for you today. Thank you if you stayed till the end of this video, and please do stick around if you want to see more content like this. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Bye, hunters.